Hello and welcome to The Big Fight, a show that is not 23 years old but young at 23. This is the oldest running debate show on Indian news television. I am Sanket Upadhyay. A big meeting took place in Mumbai of the India Alliance. This is the third chapter, the first in Patna, the second in Bengaluru, the third in Mumbai. In the first meeting there were 17 people, in the second meeting 26, and by people I mean parties, beg your pardon. And in the third meeting, it is claimed that there were 28 parties. So the tribe, it seems, is growing. Now this is good, isn't it? The biggest achievement that the flock is together and in fact growing. But the big concern remains, will there be a common ground, a meeting ground on those issues of inner contradictions? That remains a big question. Are we any close to any answer yet? We don't know. We will put that to debate. While all of this is happening, you have the central government which has come up with a proposal where it says that the former president of this country, under his leadership, a committee will be formed to assess the feasibility of one nation, one election. The BJP says that this is the need of the hour. Now, of course, the opposition camp feels that all of this has been brought in to do some sort of headline management. Beyond that, can one nation, one election be advantage BJP and disadvantage opposition, or the other way around? And this Grand India Alliance, the big question, can they do it in 2024? Let us kickstart this special edition of The Big Fight by introducing all the guests here in Mumbai. I have a very esteemed panel right here with me. Let me begin by introducing Ms. Shaina NC, spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Thank you very much for joining us. Clyde Trasto, spokesperson of the NCP. I am assuming the NCP of Mr. Sharad Pawar, because your status, as Facebook would suggest, it's complicated.
Well, it's not complicated at all.
We'll come to that in just a short moment. Political Baba, he's known as Political Baba, but Mr. Amitabh Tiwari has a very strong understanding of political matters and political affairs, and he's going to comment on all this and much more. Ms. Preeti Sharma Menon, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, a very crucial player in the opposition meet, and also, as many people call you, a possible pain point for the Congress in the opposition. So we'll see what happens as you meet further. Also, those, two guests have joined us who could not be physically with us right here in Mumbai. We have Sanjay Jha, is a political analyst, and Shekhar Iyer, a senior journalist. As usual, we'll begin with what we call is the first punch, where each of the panelists get 1 minute time for their opening comment. Ms. Shaina NC, I would like to begin with you first. Your time starts now.
So let me start by saying we have a magical word which is called Narendra Modi, a magical leader who has the charisma, who has percolated down the welfare schemes that touch the lives of every segment, be it the farmers, be it women, be it youth, or even senior citizens. Having said that, if you look at the vote share of just the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is about 38.5%, if you look at the NDA collectively, it's 45%. We are here on an agenda of development. With that comes good leadership, charisma as a leader who has delivered, made India proud at the international level. Let's not forget the trajectory of India as a vibrant economy to a superpower in the years to come is a reason why the voter will repose faith in the NDA. The NDA is trial tested, and we have seen in the past, right from Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time up until Narendra Modi ji's time, there is only one dedication, which is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, Sabka Vishwas, not excluding anybody, making sure that the Labhartis continue in the majority.
I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Clyde Trasto. Your opening remarks.
Well, I'm going to take off from where Shaina has left. She mentioned a few things, but I'm going to touch on 3 points. The 3 points she said was, they have the magical name called Mr. Narendra Modi. But the fact of the matter is, they have only one person. I mean, they call themselves the NDA. So are they trying to say that there's no one capable in the other parties in the NDA fit enough to be the Prime Minister, or they do not want anybody else to come in the forefront and, take on Mr. Modi and say, okay, we can also be, Prime Ministerial candidates? If they do not have the charisma, or they should say they do not have the charisma, or the BJP is trying to say that, you can just stay with us, but we are not going to give you anything. Secondly, she spoke about women. Okay, if there's so much done for the women, why are we not talking about Manipur? Why are we not talking about what happened to the women in Manipur? If that is the case, and if they've done so much for the women, then they should talk about Manipur also. The Prime Minister should have spoken and told the people of the country that what steps they are going to take to make sure that the people of Manipur are safe. Then she spoke about the farmers. Now she's talking about the farmers. Look at what is happening with the onion crisis, tomatoes. Even the onion, they made this huge announcement that we are going to buy quintals of onion. But the fact is that is just the initial produce. But what about the rest of the produce? And one last thing.
Yeah, quickly,
they said they'll buy at 2,410 rupees per quintal. That's just the production cost. What about the rest? Where's the profit? So you talk and you over the top and you talk about big things. That's not going to serve the purpose.
We've got plenty of time to talk about these things in detail. But for opening comments, Mr. Amitabh Tiwari.
Yeah. So the one nation, one poll, in my opinion, is not going to benefit the BJP as it is envisaged, because simultaneous polls are already happening in 3 states in India, which is Odisha, Andhra and Sikkim, and in all these states the regional parties are winning the state elections as well as winning the majority of the seats in the national elections. Now coming to the India part, the India bloc. Politics is the art of managing the contradictions. So far these 28 parties have been able to tide a steady ship. Now the issues remain around seat distribution, which is tricky because they have themselves said that we will fight the polls together as far as possible. Then there is a question of leadership, whether they need to project a PM or they go for a combined leadership. There is a question of a common minimum program. There is a question of organization issues, how the worker on the ground gets ready to fight the BJP and the other parties whom they have been fighting for so long now. And the last point is about the message. What is the message? Jeetega Bharat, Judega Bharat, Jeetega India is fine, but how? And what is the mode of communication? Because it is currently seen as an anti-Modi bloc and not as a pro-India or a pro-development.
Despite the name. That's an important point that you're making. Ms. Preeti Sharma Menon, your opening comments.
Thank you so much. I think I'm absolutely convinced that Narendra Modi is a magician. He uses hocus pocus to confuse the people. And there is no substance behind that hocus pocus. He's pulling out rabbits out of the hat, but those rabbits don't exist in reality. So he will add 800 rupees to your cylinder's cost and then tell you I'm giving you a 200 rupee subsidy. That is the problem that India is facing today. That today the price rise and joblessness is becoming so acute that it is affecting every Indian home. And India is the solution to those problems. We have a Prime Minister who has now thrown an idea into the ring. It's like a circus performer, one poll. But that's not practical for various reasons. One is he doesn't really have the majority to actually do a constitutional amendment. But leave that aside, to actually exercise such a program. What happens when during a 5-year term a state assembly collapses? He's just institutionalizing horse trading. If within a 5-year term, a state assembly, for some reason, the chief minister loses his mandate, the central government can just seize power, or anybody can seize power. It's up for grabs. If you've read the actual draft presented by the earlier commission, it is shocking. So I think today what India needs is Indians to come together and save Dr. Baba Saheb's constitution.
Okay. We also have 2 guests who could not physically be with us but yet join us on Zoom. Shekhar Iyer and Sanjay Jha. Let's go to them one by one. Shekhar Iyer, your opening comments.
Well, the opposition alliance have got down to nuts and bolts. They have set up committees for various purposes. And they have said they are going to start discussions on seat sharing. But I think the missing point, as was mentioned earlier, is what is that narrative beyond, the general attack on Modi, calling him a dictator, Tanashahi, all that we have heard before. We heard it in full measure today also. So therefore, for a successful opposition narrative, you need to also have a governance agenda that is beyond the freebies, which would come in ample measure this time also for the Lok Sabha election. So that was not discussed, probably may come up later, because they need to talk to the voters in terms of what is exactly going to be alternative to what is the BJP model of governance. Simply calling it, this is a model for benefiting businessmen, things like that, that will be more like a rhetoric we have heard during the previous times, when the left used to dominate the narrative We had a lot of those narratives against capitalism, against particular group of companies, crony and all that. So in terms of narrative, we'll have to see what exactly the point. And finally, of course, the leadership.
Mr. Iyer, I'm going to have to cut you short here. Your 1 minute time is up. Mr. Iyer, yeah, I'm going to come back to you because there's one more panelist who has not spoken. Mr. Sanjay Jha, your opening comments, please.
Sanket, I would call the last 10 years under Narendra Modi as India's lost and dark decade. It is a betrayal of the public trust in Narendra Modi and the BJP. India today stands socially fractured, economically devastated, politically corrupted at the core. And I think let's look at some of the recent examples, just the recent examples that will tell you the crisis we are in. Manipur, the Prime Minister goes on a radio silence, speaks after 78 days for 36 seconds when a viral video tells us what was going on there. What a shame. Number two, the women wrestlers have to protest against sexual harassment of a BJP leader, and today we'll go for competitions without using the national flag. Haryana, the courts have to use the word ethnic cleansing. What a shame. A railway police officer hunts Muslims down in a train. Is this the India we ever dreamt of? And last but not the least, the boy getting spanked with a teacher egging on other people to slap him in Muzaffarnagar. Modi has divided and destroyed this great country, and we need to do something to not just stop him, but to defeat the BJP and Mr. Modi in 2024. And the opposition will.
1 minute time is up. We've heard everyone and their opening comments. Mr. Sanjay Jha, I'm going to come back to you, but let's quickly come back to where we are on location. Mr. Clyde Crasto, while you were meeting and you were projecting INDIA United, India Your Alliance United, right? There was this talk of, you talk about one opposition, there was a talk of one nation, one election. For the next few minutes, I would request all of us talk about the pros and cons of a concept like this and why was it brought. According to you, do you feel there is actually some merit in what is being said that there should be elections aligned so that there, you know, it's a one-time exercise and we should not have this over and over again. This is the theory which is being given. Or do you feel that this is a classic case of headline management?
No, this is a classic case.
There is an event that is happening, so you should have something else.
No, that's a classic
Both
case.
arguments are being made.
So there's a classic case of headline management for sure. Because the fact is that they need to say something over the top so that the people of the country are glued to them, that all the media gets glued to them. But the fact is, how practical is one nation, one election?
Yeah, as a concept, how practical is it?
This is not practical because like Preeti ji also said, for example, see there are a lot of states that have just completed the elections now. There are some states that are on the verge of elections. Fair enough. But if you hypothetically think that you have a one nation, one election, but what happens if that government loses a mandate in the middle of their election term? And if they do not have any mandate, if the government falls or something happens, then what? They're going to have a precedence rule there? Is that the idea? That you start, now you're in government in the center, so you start ruling. See, they have assumed that they're going to rule for 50 years. I mean, this is, like wishes were horses, then I don't want to complete the rest of the thing. The point here is they think that if the government falls, you can't hold an election because you have to wait for another 5 years. Then what happens? Precedence rule. That means you are ruling from there. So in that case, if that government there is not of the BJP, they do their horse trading. There's a larger picture. They do horse trading, the government falls, the central government, which is the BJP. Let me finish, Shana. I know you're eager to talk. Okay?
Mr. Clyde Castro has imagined many possibilities.
No, so I'm telling you, let me finish.
In the course of
let me finish this. Yeah. No, let me finish this. So the fact is, they're going to rule the center. Then, now the other moot point that I'm going to say is that now they know that the India alliance is taking traction. They're taking wings. They're getting stronger. So before they go further, why not hold an election while we still have, a little bit edge over them, which they do because they are in government, and the 5 states are going in for elections. Let's do it together so they can use now, like she said, the magician Mr. Narendra Modi, they can use his name and go for all the elections. So this is a proper, well-thought plan to fool the people of India and also at the same time take the edge if they can.
Okay, so Mr. Clyde Crasto in under 2 minutes has helped us imagine a number of circumstances and scenarios. By the way, many of these scenarios have existed. Yes. We have seen these situations arise, right? My question to you is, does one nation, one election necessarily put you in an influential position politically? At the point that Mr. Amitabh Tiwari was making.
Look, Sanket, if you think about one nation, one election, what is the viewpoint? Wasteful spending that you see through the 5 years where people, whether it's the administration or the political class, that really don't focus on the work they should be doing for people. What does our Prime Minister say as a Pradhan Sevak? He says that we are working for the downtrodden, and if you really view every statement of his, it is always nation first, party next, individual last. If you're going to objectify and have all these various viewpoints which really don't make sense and are figments of their own imagination, maybe they should just take a minute to ponder the wasteful spending of the taxpayers. Ask the voter what they would like. Would they like to be in election
here is
mode
my proposition.
through
One
the
moment.
year,
Why would
or
you?
would they like to just
why
have
would the
one
BJP
election?
not take the lead and conduct simultaneous elections in the states where you are in power? Go ahead and do it. Lead by example.
Hello. I don't understand why we are trying to trivialize this debate. Let this matter come up in Parliament. Let the debate go on. Let the Prime Minister and our party also give our viewpoint. Let the public decide. Let the public know how much wasteful spending, how the administration
Why
is
the need,
burdened,
Ms. China?
how the political class is also
Why the need to have a committee like this in 2023? At the fact, I could have understood
1
that you were
minute,
toying
you
with
can
this idea in
question.
2019.
Look, skeptics like y'all who have jaundice eyes will never think of nation first. You will only think of
Okay,
individual
very-
first.
that's a-
And skeptics like y'all
Extremely
who have
strong
jaundice. No,
language.
it is a fact. It is a fact. If there is Article
can I reply to
370, you
that?
will question. If there is a triple talaq that empowers women and gives women dignity, you will say this is appeasement. If there is a demonetization, you will say, oh, this is, somebody
China,
being
all I'm trying to say, you would have had
Every
greater
single
runway
move.
had you done it when Narendra Modi came to power the
Thank
second
God
time.
he is not consulting you or the panel here and using the best
can I get 30
interest
seconds? I
of
want
the
to
citizens
Great,
of India.
But that doesn't stop us from asking these questions.
Please
Anyway,
go ahead.
yeah, one more. Miss
One
Menon.
moment.
Yeah.
So I think that it is a very interesting sounding idea. You know, we are saving money. You know, one nation, one poll. It's a 5,000 crore expense. We are saving that money. Do you know how much his plane cost? 8,000 crores. Do you know what their budget is? 30 lakh crores. In the scheme of things, to keep democracy alive, if we have to spend 5,000 crores, we must. Because I'll tell you what the problem is here, and I'm not coming out just out of my hat. We, as the Aam Aadmi Party, as the government in Delhi, have submitted a detailed submission to the Law Commission using a lot of our constitutional expert resources, our legal resources. And what we have pointed out is there is no plan for contingency. The biggest problem is, suppose, yes, let's have one poll. We have one poll, we elect all the state governments together. What happens then is, if a state government stops functioning for whatever reason, they've thrown two widely different scenarios as plausible things. One is, if a chief minister loses his mandate because an alliance partner, say, walks away, he can continue as the chief minister. Where is the public's will in that? If the public's mandate is not with him, how can a chief minister continue in office? And the second thing they've said is that if a government totally loses its power, there is just absolutely okay for MLAs to choose, come together, trade between themselves, offer money, buy, sell, horse trade, and come up with a chief minister. What you're doing is you're killing democracy in a state. The foundation of this country was made by the Constituent Assembly, who were really expert, educated
I think
people.
on a point,
One moment.
yeah.
Now we are having one uneducated man coming up with one more harebrained scheme, which killed people. His schemes have killed people in the past. He will lead to that in the future as well. Imagine a state with a chief minister governing without a mandate. How is he going to get any bill passed through? The people of the state will starve.
Here is the thing. Ms.
That's
Preeti
the
Sharma
issue
Menon,
that we
from
need to
what
come
we
up with.
understand, see, whatever the idea is, you may question the timing of that idea, Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, that this could have been, I personally feel the government would have gotten a greater runway and greater time for consultation to come up with a proposal like this. Who knows? I mean, this is the country where some of the biggest changes and decisions have been a function of an accident, right? But why would you want to do this? You may want greater consultation for something as revolutionary as this. But having said that, Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, do you feel that one must at least start discussing the possibility and not just throw this out as a ridiculous proposition? Let's see, let's get everyone's view.
Of course, it needs to be debated. And in 2018 also, I think Vinay Shastra Buddhe led committee had presented a report.
Yeah.
However, for me, the biggest merit of a one nation, one poll is...
Merit, you said?
Yeah, merit.
Okay.
The Prime Minister spends, let's say on an average, 3 days in all the state elections for a 5-year cycle. That means for 30 states, he is spending close to 90 days on campaigning. And I'm not talking about this Prime Minister alone. All Prime Ministers, all the Chief Ministers of states are spending similar number of days just for election campaign.
So their campaigning gets concentrated.
Campaigning gets,
Freeing
that
up time for work.
Yes. So
Okay.
that time could be devoted for the development of the nation. And it's
nation,
not
that's precisely
just
the
about
point.
the Prime
You're not
Minister.
mentioning
But
We
you
have
know what,
said
Mali,
that.
here's my flip.
It is
Here's my
precisely for development of the
here is
nation.
my counter argument. Who is a politician? He's in service of the public. So if he's trying to he or she is constantly trying to be in touch with the public, what is the harm?
No, it
all
is-
political political parties do
No,
this.
it is not about trying to explain their agenda. I mean, he is doing a FB live, a Facebook live, a Twitter live. There are so many events
Then
which are
people will
happening.
again say 5 saal ka chief minister or 5 saal ka prime minister because you will vanish.
No, 5 saal. See, it
Why?
lends.
And how will the issues be communicated to the people?
Service of the election, what do people vote
Okay.
for? They work
It
for
led-
somebody who is going to work for them and
Sure.
develop them.
It lends
Okay, so
stability.
he's happy about
From
the merits, let's go to-
1952
yeah.
to 1967, simultaneous polls were held in the country. So it's not that they were not held, and still it is happening in 3-4 states. It saves a lot of time of the politicians. We
Okay,
hear
let's
about the
quickly
things like
let's
230
quickly get in
And the
on One Nation.
administration, please highlight that.
Yeah, one moment. See, just last 2 quick comments on One Nation, One Poll. Lest the opposition starts accusing us of only concentrating on something that has been decided upon in New Delhi and not talk about the meeting that has taken place in Mumbai. So we'll come to that because this meeting is very, very crucial. Mr. Shekhar Iyer and Sanjay Jha, one by one, your views on the idea of one nation, one election. Mr. Iyer, you go first.
The very fact that the government has set up a committee. See, when do you set up a committee? When you know that the road is not clear. The concept may have pros and cons, but in terms of implementation, there are several hurdles. There are legal requirements, as some of the questions that were posed by our panelists now. What happens if this is the situation? What happens if that is the situation? So what we are going to see is, are we going to have a system like in Germany, where the tenure of the house is fixed for 5 years or whatever, and if one leader loses confidence of the house, maybe the same house will elect another leader. There are several proposals, several issues involved, and I don't see government setting up a committee means this is something going to happen before the next Lok Sabha elections, though coincidentally or with purpose, I do not know, the very fact that a special session was announced made everyone feel this is something is going to be rushed through. That's not going to happen. So there will be a lot of wider debate, and fact that there is a discussion, there is going to be a committee consisting of former President Kovind and as well as, I'm told, probably 2 retired judges. So a lot of proposals will be there. It will in fact kick off a wider debate because Prime Minister has been talking about it off and on. So this is not the end of the debate or a decision is to be taken, rather a beginning. Sanket.
Okay, Sanjay Jha, your comments, and before you give us your comments on one nation, one election. If, and a lot of what we are discussing is imagined, especially the possibilities like Mr. Clyde Castro illustrated. If this were to be discussed, debated and then implemented before 2024, let's imagine this situation because we don't know right now. If that happens, is that a situation which is advantage NDA or advantage India? I'm adding all the health warnings and riders in this question.
Yeah, Sanket, let me tell you that this is a complex process of a constitutional amendment. All the state assemblies will come into play. I don't know whether it can happen before 2024, but I will tell you upfront the 3 principal reasons or the consequences of doing one nation, one election. Narendra Modi and the BJP want to nationalize every election. What do you mean by this? Let me tell you. If you have an election for states and the center happening together, Sanket, you're a veteran. You know that Narendra Modi and the BJP will nationalize the election. The local issues will become irrelevant. For example, everyone will be talking about national security, which is what the BJP's plank is, although we know what a disaster they are in Manipur. They will talk about hyper-nationalism. They are the only patriotic party. Everyone else is an anti-national. The whole focus will be on the fact that at the end of the day, it's a national issue that will basically...
Sanjay Jha, by that logic, Andhra Pradesh should not have had a YSR Congress government and Odisha should not have had a BJD government.
No, 1 minute. You cannot take two examples and say that...
Lok Sabha election.
Can I finish my point here? My basic point is, number two, this is against cooperative federalism, because tomorrow the regional parties can get destroyed. A voter coming into vote is very normal that when he's hearing about his broken roads or very poor state of infrastructure in his city or the kind of corruption of his corporator or the MLA, will instead vote on, well, you know, the Ram temple has been inaugurated. Mr. Modi is giving a lecture on ghar mein ghus karke hum fix karenge Pakistan ko. You see, this is the BJP's ploy to basically ensure that the voter is confused. Point number three, very important, don't ignore it. Today in the state elections, the political
China NC on this comment, and then we move to this opposition meeting. One. Yes, Mr. Jha, I've heard the point there. Right to reply to China NC. Quickly.
What utter nonsense is this? Tell me, when you had the Lok Sabha elections, did Biju Janata Dal win in Odisha? Is that not a regional party? Was it advantage BJP or was it advantage to the voter to decide? And the voter was so sensitive.
He's saying it is not as institutionalized as it may become.
1 minute. May become. You're already in all hypothetical mode. Every argument here is hypothetical.
No, of course, because it's not happened.
Without getting into the nitty-gritty of the time saved of the political class, the political leaders, the administration to work for the betterment of the country. And the voter is extremely bright. And even if I'm saying so, if you take Orissa as a case study, what happened there? You had them vote for the BJP for the Lok Sabha and they voted for Naveen Patnaik for the assemblies. Is that not a sign of somebody?
Okay, now let's quickly move on, Mr. Clyde Trasto, and begin with you on the significance of this big meeting, the third edition. Would you agree with an assessment that the very fact that your tribe is growing is good news?
Absolutely.
Those differences are not coming to the fore is good news, at least in these photo opportunities. But, and here is the big and very big if.
But.
Yes.
Tell me.
The fact that none of those pain points have been settled. For instance, आपका और अजीत पवार का रिश्ता क्या कहलाता है? For the longest time, Mr. Clyde Trasto, you are saying that you are one party. There is no breakup.
No, 1 minute. We didn't say we are one party. There is no breakup. I maintain that. Hear me out.
There is no breakup.
No, hear me out.
One faction is in the government in Maharashtra.
यार सवाल करते हो जवाब तो नहीं सुन रहे मेरे भाई तो सुन लो अभी ध्यान से NCP has not broken up. We are not together.
Yeah.
Some people from our party have left us and gone and supported the BJP. NCP still remains the way it is. Our president is Mr. Sharad Pawar. Our symbol is the clock. If there's a home and some furnitures have left and taken
Mr.
away,
Crasto,
the home
how
stays
does
there.
it?
Why?
This is the same argument.
No,
we
but-
did not lose, they won.
1 minute.
This is that sort of
How
argument.
does it matter? How does it matter? NDTV was owned by somebody. Now it is owned by somebody else. Right? NDTV is the way it is. It's where it is. Correct? NCP is where it is. Some people have left us and gone. We wish them. 1 minute. 1 minute. I know 1 minute. Yeah, there are some who have left also. There are some who have left. I don't want to take that.
Can we come back to discussing?
No, that's what I'm
we
saying.
are not contesting elections.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. Analogies were given, so I'm giving
Okay.
analogy. My point is very simple. NCP remains the way it is. We have not broken up. Some people have changed their ideologies, left us and gone. They are not part of the NCP. And let me tell you, as of now, as I speak to you right now, this moment, the Election Commission of India has registered NCP as the party with the president, Mr. Sharad Pawar, and the clock symbol belonging to Mr. Sharad Pawar.
Okay, so you're
Prove it
saying...
to me if the Election Commission has changed it right
Okay,
now.
so the
at this moment.
NCP in its original form is still there with
Yes,
this India
absolutely,
bloc. And that is
absolutely.
what the Rishta is.
Absolutely.
Okay. Preeti Sharma Menon, now a question to you. You see, your relationship with the Congress also is good cop, bad cop, blow hot, blow cold. This is just going on. Somebody wants to see their leader, one spokesperson from your party wanted to see Mr. Kejriwal as Prime Minister, and then was later told that don't be so enthusiastic, let these decisions be taken at a larger level. Apart from that, who gets how many seats in Delhi? Mr. Arvind Kejriwal referred to this in his speech on Friday, in the closing remarks of this meeting, where he said that a lot of effort will be made to show that we have a lot of differences. Am I to assume that those pain points and differences between you and the Congress party, which were extremely underlined, have been sorted? Or you're willing to live with these inner contradictions?
I think what has happened today is very momentous. The process of ironing out the differences has begun. It's not done. Nothing happens in one meeting or two or three. It will take time. The entire alliance meeting decided that we will now get down to the state levels and figure out seat sharing. And I think all the members of the alliance have decided to put India before their party. And I think that's fantastic. I mean, for so many different leaders to come together, it's just amazing. Yes, every party volunteer wants to see their leader as the Prime Minister. That is an aspiration that every probably volunteer has out of their party leader. But alliance has gone beyond that. It has gone beyond individual aspirations. It has gone to the need of the hour. And the need of the hour is to save democracy, to save the constitution from a person whose decisions are not based on any science. They are not based on any education. They are not based on any learnings. They are whimsical. He decides today demonetization. Today he says midnight firecrackers, we are going to do GST. And the pain and the suffering of the country is never taken into account in doing something like that. A lot of changes can happen on the way a country conducts elections. They must happen maybe, but it requires so much thought and so much study which this government is incapable of. We have at the helm a person who's maniacal about power and is just thinking of different ways to get in horse trading institutionalized. This alliance today is putting a stop to that. It is standing solidly against horse trading. It is standing solidly together to ensure that the voice of the people is heard. And I think that's the need of the hour. I think it's fantastic. This will go down in history. That so many leaders who are stalwarts in their own way have come together, put their own personal agendas behind and have put the country first. I think this is as momentous as the freedom struggle.
Before you reply, Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, yes, I'll come back to you, I promise. Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, as I said in the beginning, the fact that in 3 editions, right, India stage 1, India stage 2, India stage 3, you have more and more leaders joining, and even those who were doubtful in the beginning, there were reasonable amount of doubt expressed by the Aam Aadmi Party in the beginning that we will not come if certain action is not taken. Almost a gun to the head approach. And yet you have those leaders coming in, the tribe is growing. Is that not an achievement, number one? And number two, the big point, can this necessarily translate? Is it a simple mathematical calculation that 40% vote share to the BJP will mean 60% vote share with the opposition, and if we all come together as a bloc, it will help us?
Yeah.
Is this mathematic way too simplistic for a country like India? That's my question.
So of course, I mean, it's a big achievement because the tribe has been growing, as you were saying, and they have sort of stood united in this entire process. Because I think survival is a very key instinct in human beings. Congress sees that if it loses this election again in 2024, then 3 times on a trot, its viability and the question of its existence will grow louder. And the regional parties have seen what has happened with Shiv Sena and the NCP, that the BJP is capable of actually destroying the regional parties.
So BJP is that glue.
So anti-Modism or anti-BJP is the glue.
So that is the plank, according to you?
That is the plank, largely the plank of coming together, and defeating the BJP. Now the question about arithmetic and chemistry. Of course, arithmetic is required. In 2019, there was a Mahagathbandhan in UP. It failed, but still BJP lost 9 seats. In Bihar, Nitish Kumar was added and BJP won 9 seats more in Bihar. But this 60% votes is not all anti-BJP vote. Now, parties like Aam Aadmi Party, the CPM in Kerala, and the Trinamool Congress in West Bengal, some of the votes which they get are also anti-Congress votes and not anti-BJP votes. So this simple arithmetic is unlikely to happen. And what also happens is that a seamless transfer of vote seldom happens when all parties
You know, the reason why I asked this question, I'll come to you. There are 2 more guests who are there on Zoom. Shekhar Iyer, you see the political resolution at the end of this meeting. I was just noticing the words that have been used, and there lies a story that perhaps the pain points have are yet to be resolved, right? The resolution says we will contest the forthcoming Lok Sabha elections together as far as possible. And the second line says there will be a collaborative spirit of give and take. Now, do you see, I look at it as that typical shartein lagu or conditions apply star to any association. Or I'll come to you.
What is wrong with it?
Yeah, I'll
What
come to
is
you.
wrong with
I
it?
promise I will come to you. Let
But
me
you
ask
are
this
not
question.
liking honesty. Is that what you're trying to say?
What?
You're not liking honesty that some people have come together and said this in front of the country. That these are what
Okay, I think that's a very important point.
You don't like honesty.
Of course I do. I love it.
That's what I'm saying.
And
so
I
if
think it's a very
somebody's being
good point.
honest, somebody is being honest.
So in a
accept it.
political resolution-
in a political resolution, there's honesty being shared by
I think that's a very
India
important
Alliance,
point that has been
and
made
so
by
accept
Clyde
the
Castro.
honesty.
Let me get in a response. Shekhar Iyer, Clyde Castro, the NCP says that if we are saying that as far as possible we'll try to come together, this is the India Alliance trying to be as honest as they can. And obviously everybody loves honesty. Honestly. Shekhar Iyer.
I'll tell you the brutal side of that honesty. Mamata Banerjee skipped the press conference today. You know why? Yesterday, for a by-election, Congress leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and CPM West Bengal secretary, they together addressed a rally in which they attacked Mamata like anything. And Mamata was so upset, she dispatched Abhishek Banerjee to Rahul Gandhi to complain against Adhir Ranjan, saying that this person has to be removed from PCC as PCC chief before you can have any deal with me. Because Congress has only 2 seats there. So the hope that is expressed there is actually a brutally and honest expression. It's not going to be easy. Either Mamata or Stalin in Tamil Nadu. Congress has 8 seats there. Do you think Stalin is going to give more than that? And so Kerala, and already you know that Pinarayi Vijayan, Prakash Karath, they are very upset with Yechuri joining those meetings. Yesterday,
These are things that they will sit and decide. No, that is what they're saying in their secretariat. Their committees will sit and, committees have been formed.
Sanket, I will tell you, in CPM also, people are very upset that Sitaram Yechuri is participating in these things. And that picture of Sitaram Yechuri being welcomed with that tilak has not gone down well. The West Bengal CPM secretary has criticized that. This is not our culture to be present in all these things. So there are very, very ground realities which a very wordings in a resolution is not going to help. It may be the desired objective, but as the elections come near, no party is going to concede any seats from its stronghold areas. That's very clear.
I think that's a significant point. The point that Shekhar Iyer is making, at what point will the cookie crumble and the inner contradictions will come to the fore? But the point is, the India Alliance says the fact that these contradictions have been kept aside and committees are being formed to work around it and work with it is an achievement in itself, and they're being honest in the process. Absolutely. As Clyde Castro said. Sanjay Jha, your view?
Sanket, I think there is an unnecessary level of alarmism being created here. Let us understand the political reality as it is. Of course, it's not a mystery. We are in the public domain. Many of the parties compete against each other. It's hardly a secret. Of course, I agree with that. I mean, the Congress and the left compete in Kerala and have aligned in West Bengal. You can call it absurd, but the truth is you have to make political adjustments when you're up against a government that is authoritarian, using ED and the CBI and the income tax, and above all, Operation Lotus to destroy political character of India. So that is the first reality on which everybody is together. I think Clyde made a very relevant point. That end of day is not just the Congress. I think every regional party in this country, look at what the BJP did to Shromani Akali Dal, to the JDU, to the Shiv Sena, to the Ram Vilas Paswan party in Bihar. They will destroy. They're like the giant anaconda snake. It's like a giant anaconda. It will swallow the very people who try to help it. Now, here is my last point. Please note this point, that the coalition politics in India, Sanket, has given better GDP growth, a more, shall we say, social harmony. And I think a country has prospered better under the UPA and even under Vajpayee's NDA than under Modi. You look at the hard numbers. India under Modi has grown by 5.7% in GDP over 9 years. Under UPA, it grew by 7% over 10 years. I mean, the facts don't cease to exist because they are being glossed over. My last point, please remember this. You know, everyone from the BJP will come and tell you, why are you attacking Modi? Well, I have an answer for that. Because the BJP has been killed by Modi and Shah. There is no BJP. People vote for Modi and Shah. So today the BJP Mukt Bharat has happened ironically with Modi as the Prime Minister. And I think Rahul Gandhi is right. Congress Mukt Bharat is now not even ever going to happen. You've seen it in Himachal, you've seen it in Karnataka, and I think you see it in the winter elections. India is up for change, and the India Alliance needs to work on making that change happen because India needs it.
Okay. Quickly coming back to China NC, the point on the alliance, the point on association where they, as Mr. Clyde Castro says, very honestly they've said we'll try to be together and contest together as far as possible. Your views?
So first to Mr. Sanjay Jha, because he's so into the economy, maybe he should just look at this graph and see how other economies are on the decline and how India is the only vibrant economy at 7.8%. Having said that, there is a lot which has been said. No, let me not, I didn't interject you. It's my turn. It's my time, sir. Please let me. Preeti ma'am and the Aam Aadmi Party,
Sanjay Jha, one moment.
The Aam Aadmi Party had the audacity to call the Prime Minister a maniac. Let me say, this is the maniac that the voter wants. The voter votes for repeatedly and the vote share only increases. You talk about demonetization, doing away with black money is bad. When you have an Article 370 which is implemented and Jammu Kashmir coming into the main fold, is that bad for the people of India? When you have a triple talaq which empowers women and gives Muslim women status and equality, is that bad for India? All these decisions taken, you view as dictatorial.
China,
my plea
as a
is,
woman, do you support
go
the
back
women
in time
wrestlers or your
and
government?
view what other leaders have
Answer that
done.
question.
View what other leaders have done, with what
Do you
honesty
support
they
the
have
women
done, and
wrestlers
view
or
this
British
Prime Minister
saying, take
as
a
somebody
stance?
who has taken India on the international map. The people, the voter is what matters, and in 2024, these theatrics, photo optics and so-called unity of certain political parties that rode on Prime Minister Modi. 2019 being a clear-cut example of how the Shiv
One
Sena
moment, we're
won
just
its
taking closing comments now.
MP seats only on Prime Minister Modi's accord.
Okay.
And there you choose to have blinkers on.
Okay, Clyde.
There's so many contradictions with what China. Okay, so there are so many contradictions in what China says. On one side, she talks about triple talaq. So I'm presuming she's talking about how they're favoring the women. At the same time, you look at the women wrestlers. Look at the treatment they got. Just because of one man, the whole BJP, kind of protected him, and they didn't look at the female wrestlers. Today we are going to compete under a neutral flag. They're going to be called neutral athletes. You're not doing anything about the women in Manipur. Then you talk about, how the economy has gone up. But in the last 45 years, we've had the highest unemployment in this country, and the data has been given by their government itself. It's not my data. So sorry, 45 years. So you never came in between government. You've been here for 9 years. See, the thing is, your contradictions, your contradictions can be said here, but the people of the country are watching. See, China, when you were talking, I did not talk. If you want to do that, I don't have jaundice eyes. If you have jaundice eyes, you can keep it to yourself. That's okay.
Nobody has jaundice.
Yeah, so I don't have jaundice eyes. So I'm
please
looking at it from a proper picture. I can see clearly. My clear vision tells me that they are talking contradictions, because on the one side they're talking about how the economy is doing, on the other side we have unemployment. They're talking about how they're being fair to women, on the other side we have Manipur and the wrestlers. We have so many issues like that. So by creating a rosy picture, that does not take away from the reality of this country, and the people of this country have begun to realize, and that is the reason BJP is rattled. Let me answer my question. In the last 9 years, where was the NDA? Suddenly the India Alliance takes a meeting and the NDA out of the cold storage, throw it and bring it out and have a meeting. Why do all these things if you are so invincible? And one more thing I want to ask. You can say what you want to say. One more thing I want to say. The BJP proclaims to be invincible. If you are so invincible, fight all the elections from today alone without the NDA and prove that they can fight and win all the elections alone.
Okay.
Prove it. It's a challenge.
You're challenging your own point. You say in the NDA there is only BJP.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly. Leave them away.
One moment. So this NDA of 40 parties is 97% vote share is BJP only.
So let them fight alone. Why take them and make a fool of them? Why are you making the fool of the other parties?
To reply, China NC.
Don't make a fool of the other parties.
And then the two of you. Closing.
Come on.
Look at the amount of MPs the NDA has today. You know, it's very well to talk about an
Time will tell.
INDIA.
It's
1 minute, how
primarily
many
BJP.
MPs
Yeah.
do you even
Time
have?
will tell. So
What
they're
is your
accepting
vote
it's only
share? What
BJP
is
and
your
DFO
vote
exists,
share?
is what it is.
We don't
Come on.
even need Sanket. The reality is the Bharatiya Janata Party under the leadership of Modi ji and Amit Shah ji, Nadda ji and all our stalwarts. Today we are the largest political party not in India, in the world. We have
then why do you need
Karyakarta
others?
support. We have
Fight
people.
alone.
Why not?
Contest
Because
alone.
Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, they have been
सबका
with
साथ
us.
नहीं,
Unlike your
तुम खुद का
party,
ही
where
विकास
the
करते हो।
Shiv Sena and Mr.
किसी का
Uddhav
साथ नहीं
Thackeray
देते हो।
fought on Narendra Modi
Absolutely
each
not. The
face
Shiv
again
Sena
and won.
helped BJP to come in this country,
You
and then they betrayed the Shiv Sena. After feeding on the Shiv Sena,
You will
they
need our
betrayed the Shiv
leadership
Sena.
to
That's what
win,
the
sir.
BJP
You
did.
won't be
Okay,
able to
okay.
win.
Let's
This is
move
the
on.
betrayal that
Quick
you all
closing comments from Amitabh Tiwari and Preeti Sharma Menon. Mr. Tiwari, if you allow me, let's get the political view and then we'll end with yours. Yes, Ms. Preeti Sharma.
So I think we've all seen the charisma of Mr. Modi, and we all know that he's this magician. So I say forget one nation, one poll. Let's have one world, one prime minister. Let Vishwaguru propose this in G20. He can be the prime minister of the world. What is this foolishness? One person for a country of such a, magnitude? We need different voices. We need every person to be represented. BJP is empty. They only have Modi and Amit Shah. Today, what India brings to the table is a lot of regional interests, a lot of national interests. It brings the voice of the people, and that is what's required, because I don't think the media and the BJP spokespersons are allowing people to hear that every house is suffering today.
Okay.
That they can't meet their budgets today, every day. It's literally the joke that is going on in terms of everything. We were supposed to have $1 at 30 rupees. Everybody, 2 crore naukriyan kahan pe hain?
Okay,
We were supposed to have 15
we're
lakh in our account.
completely running out of time.
So
Last
this
word to Mr.
jumblebazi
Amitabh
has to
Tiwari.
stop, and India is the answer.
Yes,
Yeah, so,
Mr. Amitabh
yeah,
Tiwari.
so clearly economy...
Mr. Tiwari,
yeah.
my question, if you could in a very succinct way, tell us, India Alliance, can they do it in 2024?
They can do it in 2024 if they are not just harping on issues. Economy is a pain point, as ma'am has mentioned. However, they have to come up with solutions. How do they intend to solve the unemployment issue? How do they intend to solve the inflation issue? From 1977 to 2019, these 12 elections, 6 governments recorded a lower GDP growth than their previous governments, and all of them have lost. And that 1.1% gap, which Sanjay Ji is mentioning, could turn out to be a very important issue in the elections, because while India has achieved the 5th largest economy status, India is 128th on per capita basis. So it's all about providing solutions. What is the solution, not the issue? What is the solution which the NDA puts on the table?
Okay, right. So, engaging discussion. Thank you very much. This was more productive and less of what we usually see in debate. So, thank you very much. Thank you so much for joining us. Stopping for a short break at this moment, but news continues right here on NDTV 24/7.